Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadare Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tada Bhaktaya Namo Namaha Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Dandavat Pranam devotees. So I'm going to do a short video to answer a question I received regarding the comparison between Sri Krishna's appearance and the process of Diksha. So I've actually pulled out the commentary here to be able to give a better explanation. And it's been quoted many times in Harikatha that the transference of the appearance of Sri Krishna in the mind and then heart of Vasudeva was transmitted to the mind and heart, and then by meditation and perception, the womb of Devaki. So I want to read the relevant verses here and take a look at the commentaries and give some explanation of this. So then I'll go back over it at the end to kind of summarize things. So first I'll quote the verses that are relevant. This is going to be, I think it's 10 to 16. So 10th canto, 2nd chapter, verse 16. Bhagavanapi Vishwatma Bhakthanam Abhayan Karaha Avisheshamksha Bhagena Mana Akana Anakan Dundubi. So it's another name for Anakan Dundubi is another name for Vasudeva. So here it's mentioning the translation of this verse is Bhagavan, the Lord himself, although he's Bhagavan, Vishwa Atma, he's the soul of all other souls. So, or the essence of all other souls, or every other soul has come from him. So Vishwatma, Bhaktanam Abhayam Karaha. And he makes all of his devotees fearless. Right? Avishesha. He entered Anksha Bhagena. Anksha Bhagena, here different meanings are given. But here Amsa Bhagena means he entered along with all of his Anksas. So here it refers to the form of Bhagavan, who is Swayam Bhagavan, means Adipurush Bhagavan, Vasudeva. That all the other Anksas, Narasingha, all other Amsas are in the Avatari, Sri Vasudeva, who appeared in the mind and then heart of Vasudeva. So here it mentions that this appearance, if you follow the sort of chain of events that happens, is of course, I'm not going back to the beginning of the story, but Devaki gives birth to 6 children prior to this, and those 6 children are killed by Kamsa, who of course is the reincarnation of Kalanemi. And the backstory, of course, is that those 6 children originally offended Brahmaji. They took birth in the dynasty of Hiranyakasipu. They did austerities unknown to Hiranyakasipu, behind the back of Hiranyakasipu, for which they were cursed to be killed by their own father, who was Kalanemi, in the next incarnation, so to speak, or iteration, who that Kalanemi became Kamsa. So those 6 sons, different descriptions have been given of them. The backstory is what I just told, but Sri Vallabhacharya, in his Sambhondini commentary, he describes that they represent the 5 senses in the mind, and being brought under the control of Bhagavan by being killed. Because there's also the later description that the sons were not actually killed, but they were taken and they were placed in Patala. So there's a whole story. I don't want to go down that track because then we'll lose focus here. So he describes they were like the five senses, including the mind. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in his commentary, also echoes that same thing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur later on, which was then echoed by our Srila Prabhupada in his writing on those verses related to the six sons of Devaki, mentions they also represent six of the attributes like Kam, Krodh, Lobha, Moha, Matsya, Matsarya. So these six sort of natural enemies to progress in spiritual life, that they were also, is what was, quote, killed by Kamsa. So of course, then in the seventh manifestation in the womb of Devaki, then Sankarashan appears. This Sankarashan represents the principle of, it says, Garbha Sankarshanat Garbha. So it says that Sankarshan is called Sankarshan because he was taken from the Garbha of Devaki. But the Acharyas have also mentioned Sankarshan means that which attracts everything. So in this regard, the appearance of Sankarshan in the womb of Devaki, the extraction from the womb of Devaki was arranged by Krishna himself through his Yogmaya. He ordered that Yogmaya should go to the dungeon of Kamsa and should take the presence of Sankarshan, who's the Angsa of Baladev Tattva, from the womb of Devaki and transfer it to the womb of Rohini. In the Mayak Drishya, means in the external vision, it appeared that Devaki had a miscarriage of the seventh child. But the presence of this Sankarshan Tattva also means the presence of Suddha Sattva. So in regards to the context in which we're speaking, by the presence of Suddha Sattva, it becomes a suitable place for the descent of Bhagavan. Now, just like when Swarup Shakti descends, it is mentioned, Suddha Sattva Viseshatma Prem Siyamsa Samyabha Ruchivis Chittamasvinya Kiraso Bhava Uchate. Right? So, Swarup Shakti is described as being composed of a Ladini and Sambit. But its descent or its place of resting is on the Sandini Shakti. Sandini Shakti means the pure state of spiritual existence. Right? So, the womb of Devaki then became qualified to receive in the context of what we're speaking. So try to keep the context here. Because we know that Prithvi and Sutapa, and then in turn Aditi and Kashyapa, and then finally in this third manifestation, that Vasudeva and Devaki had already prayed. They wanted a son like the Lord. You understand? And of course the Lord tells them, there's no one like me, so the Lord agrees to appear himself as their sons. He does so in the first as Krishnagarbha, and the second is Vamandev, and of course now as Avatari, Sri Krishna Bhagavan, or Vasudeva. So, but in the context of what we're describing here, the removal of any kinds of anarthas and the representation of those six sons, the seventh son being the presentation of the Sandini Shakti and the state of Suddha Sattva, and then the descent of the personification of Aladini and Sambit, meaning Vasudev, who's also Avatari, meaning the source of all the other avatars here. This is what is meant by Amsabhagena. He is the complete form containing all the other Amsas. Right? So now the Devaki's womb is a suitable place, right, for the descent. Vasudeva then, by his glance, it's explained, by his looking into the eyes, it's given in one part of the commentaries here, by his looking into the glance, not by any seminal arrangement, right, but simply by looking into the eyes of Devaki, he transfers that Vasudeva, which has appeared to him in his pure state, into the mind, into the heart of Devaki. So let me read the relevant sections in the commentary to try to get an understanding of this. So I've read the first verse about his appearance in the mind and heart of Vasudeva, right? Then it says, Tato Jagan Mangalam Achyutta Anksham Shamahitam Sura Sutena Devi Dadhara Sava Atmakam Atmabhutam Kashta Yata Ananda Karam Manashtaha. So here it says that after the Lord had appeared to Vasudeva, that all auspicious Lord, who is complete in everything, and he already existed, means in the form of Antriyami, super soul, Janardhan, because that will come up later on. He already was existing just as the moon exists in Purvadisha, in the eastern horizon, right? And at the appropriate time, we see the rise of the moon. So in the same way, saying that already that situation was there, especially because Devi here means Jyotirman. Jyotirman means the pure state, as we describe Sudasattva, in which the capacity to accommodate the Lord is present. So that was already existing in the womb of Devaki. So then he says, after that, he was meditatingly, this is the English translation of this, he was meditatingly transferred by Vasudeva into the mind and heart of Devaki. Devaki, by meditation, experienced also that manifestation in her own womb because she had the absorption in wanting to be the mother of Bhagavan. You understand? So therefore, she had the experience also that her womb actually was illuminated with the presence of Vasudeva. So here in the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami, Bhavarta Dika Tika, the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami, it's called Bhavarta Dipika. I'm just going to read it. The Lord is embodied auspiciousness for the world. So this is Jagan Mangalam. His aspect beginning with Aishwarya, they have no decline. So he's also called Achyuta. This is one that means the word Achyuta, that which never declines, right? Or which is infallible, right? And Achyutasya Angsha Eva Angsha. And Angsha is like an Angsha of Achyuta. So it means when he came full. Just like he appeared in the mind and heart of Vasudeva, he was fully present with all Amsas, everything in the mind, heart, and womb of Devaki. It says also, particularly, he took this form in the womb, heart, mind of Devaki as a means of showing mercy to the devotees. So in the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, of course, it is mentioned there, Anugrahaya Bhaktanam, Manushinam Dehi Namastita. So when Bhagavan descends, he also descends Anugraha out of his mercy to give pleasure to his devotees. So here that's also being mentioned. Anugraha means mercy, also shows mercy to his devotees. She was effulgent in the sense that she was full of transcendental existence. So here he says Devi means Jyotirman, which I spoke earlier, which means Sudasattva. So what I spoke earlier, Srila Sridhar Swami is explaining here in his Bhavarta Dipika Tika, right? Devi means Jyotirman, it means, Jyotirman means effulgent, but what effulgent? The prabhav or influence of the presence of Sudasattva. That's what sustained the appearance of Vasudeva, the Lord. Then he says, here's the important part also. He was transferred by means of scriptural initiation, right? So in other words, he's given a comparison here of Vasudeva transferring the presence of the Lord from his heart and mind into the heart and mind of Devaki as being analogous to Guru giving Diksha to a disciple. So this is where the genesis of this has come from, right? In the commentary of Srila Sridhar Swami, and it has been echoed by other acharyas, and the reason is because the actual idea of Diksha is just that, is the transference from the heart of Sri Guru, their realization of the name, form, qualities, parikas, and pastimes of Bhagavan, the transference of all of those things through Harikatha first, in which the Nam, Rup, Gun, Parika, and Leela, they are established in the Harikatha of Sri Guru. Then at the time of Diksha, in a concise form, Dibya Gyanam Hiyanto Shimanti Mantre, Bhagavat Surup Gyanatena, Bhagavat Sambandha Visesh Gyanam. Right? So then in a concise form, in the form of the mantra, Gurudev imparts realization into the heart of the disciple, which unfolds over the course of time due to their sudden bhajan and their gradual purification. So Srila Sridhar Swami has made this connection in relation also to the appearance of Lord Krishna. Right? So here is the original statement, and then the, again, flushed out or expanded statements of the Acharyas and descriptions of the Acharyas in this regard, and how it is also, like I said, analogous to the transfer from the heart of Guru to disciple, the name, form, qualities, parikalil, etc. of Bhagavan into the heart of a disciple through the medium of the Diksha mantra. Understand? So hopefully, Prabhu, this was answering your question. I did not want to answer without giving you references. So you have two. One is going to be the verse I quoted earlier, and then 2:10 to 18 is where, again, in that commentary there of Sridhar Swami on that verse, he gives this description about by scriptural initiation, right? And let me read the footnote here, the annotation, the footnote here as well. So Sridhar Swami's statement as follows. At the time of initiation, because Sridhar Swami goes on to explain this, at the time of initiation, Guru instructs the disciple about meditation. Then the latter makes the form of the Lord, which had just been explained, enter into his own heart. Similarly, Vasudev locked his glance in Devaki's eyes. Hari was passing over to Devaki, appeared in her womb through sight. So this is the statements of Sridhar Swami, means the original commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. So this is the reference to how the comparison of Krishna's Janma Leela is to the idea of Diksha from Guru to disciple. All right, Prabhuji, hopefully this was very helpful to you. I've given also the references. Again, let me go back. One is 10 to 18, where it speaks exactly about that transfer. And the other is going to be 10 to 16, in how the Lord appears in the heart and mind first of Vasudev. Right? All right. Also, another point to be made here is that, of course, the meaning of the word Vasudev is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's described Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. The state of consciousness in which the Lord is perceived is called Vasudeva. So, Yat Idyate Tatra Pumam Apavrita. In the state in which the Lord is manifest, uncovered. So, an interesting thing is to be understood here as well. When Sri Krishna appeared to Vasudeva and Devaki, he appeared in the form of Vasudeva, or the form of the Lord containing all the other incarnations, everything else, but he appeared uncovered. Right? Yat idyate, because this was their upasana, this was their worship. Yat idyate tatrupumam apavrita. He appeared uncovered. Like this. Right? So the idea here is that he appeared as Bhagavan. You understand? What is it that makes the Brijabasi see Krishna not as Bhagavan? The fact that he is covered. He is covered by Yogmaya. You understand? Being covered by his Yogmaya potency, and that Yogmaya potency's prabhav, influence, affecting all Brijabasis, they don't see Krishna as Vasudeva, Bhagavan. They see that he is Nandalal, Yashodanandan. They see that he is the friend of Subal and Sridham. They see that he is the Gopi Janavalabha, that he is the beloved of gopis. This is due to the covering of Yogmaya. When that covering of Yogmaya is removed, the appearance of Bhagavan as Bhagavan is prominent. Understand? So this is another aspect to this whole understanding. Understand? Therefore, when Jiva Goswami Pad is described in Gopal Champu, when Devaki, I spoke this on Janmashtami Katha as well, so I'm just repeating here, that when Devaki decided, because here's the sequence. First, during the pregnancy of Devaki, the effulgence of Bhagavan was perceived even by the Devatas who came to the dungeon of Kamsa and offered so many stav and stuti, so many prayers. Then upon the appearance of Vasudev Krishna, right, Bhagavan, Vasudev first offers a whole series of stav and stuti. Afterward, Devaki herself offers so much stav and stuti. Only after some time, Devaki then says, "Oh my Lord, can you hide this opulent form of yours and become like a small child so that I can hide you to protect you from Kamsa?" So now, as I mentioned on Janmashtami Katha, think about the psychology which must be involved here. How would it be possible, under the extreme stress and duress, that Kamsa was going to perform the same atrocity that he had performed previously 6 times, that now he was going to perform that same thing by killing the male child that you had just had manifest? But this was not a child that manifested to you, but it was Bhagavan equipped with all weaponry and everything else. So now, where in the psychology of Devaki would it have come to bear that Bhagavan, who's God, who has come with all weapons and everything, he should not be Bhagavan here, who's fully capable of killing Kamsa, by the way, but he should transfer into a small child, and that Devaki will give him protection by hiding him. So think about this. Just take 1 second and digest this. So here, it is clearly understood that Vasudev, which is uncovered in the state of pure existence, right? We mentioned already, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Sabditam, Yat Idjate Tatrapumam Apavrita, that very Vasudev who appeared there was now suddenly, an inspiration is in the heart of Devaki, that he should be covered like and become a small child so she can give him protection. So now, it is a natural feeling in the heart of those who have Vatsalya Bhav. There are 4 characteristics of Vatsalya Bhav. Palan means to offer protection. Poshan means to nourish. Tandabatsana, it means to have the parental right to chastise your child for their welfare. And Sanka Amangala, it means a constant fear and worry about the welfare of your child. These are 4 of the natural anubhavs of Vatsalya praying. Now, Bhagavan had appeared before Vasudeva and Devaki. But Devaki's inspiration has come, please become like a small child. From where and how has this idea come, especially given the circumstances? So there's one statement also is there. Nandabaraya Dvinami Yashoda Devaki. Nandabaraya Dvinami Yashoda Devaki. The wife of Nanda Maharaj has 2 names, Yashoda and Devaki. Why? Because Yashoda means, Yash means fame, Da means to give. She has given the fame of motherhood to Devaki. How? Because when Sri Krishna appeared in Braj, he appeared directly from the womb of Mother Yashoda. You understand? So many verses have quoted to prove this. Right? What is this? Nandastu Atmajo Utpane Jattalado. This verse is also there. Jayati Deadikam Janmana Braja. Nomijate Vapuse Pasupankajaya. So many verses have declared clearly that Krishna was born in Braj. So when Krishna appeared from the womb of Mother Yashoda in the Garbhagriha there in Nandagan, at that time the wife of the elder brother of Nanda Maharaj, her name Sunanda, she came out and revealed. She had seen the birth. Oh, baby child, boy is born. She came to tell all others. You understand? Not only that, but also it's mentioned that Nanda Maharaj, he called Ahuyam Avipra Vedagyanam Swashti Ayanam Jatta Karma Atmasya that he called that the Brahmins should come and they should recite auspicious Vedic mantras, including Swasti Vachan. Also, they should prepare for the Jata Karma. It means the cutting of the umbilical cord. Prior to the cutting of the umbilical cord, normally the father will take a little bit of ghee and place on the mouth of the child prior to the cutting of the umbilical cord. This is called Jata Karma, Samskar. Understand? So, here, it's proven that Krishna had taken literal birth from the womb of Mother Yashoda, transcendentally. After Krishna appeared, Mother Yashoda became overwhelmed by sleep. This is also the influence of Yog Maya. And after Krishna was born, Vishnu Anuja or Krishna Anuja appeared, which was his own Shakti, Yog Maya Shakti, an Angsa or Prakash of Yog Maya Shakti. Jiva Goswami says that it was that Yog Maya Shakti that was ordered to go to the dungeon of Kamsa and to bring the Angsa Sankarshan from her womb and put into the room of Rohini Ma to be merged with Baladev Tattva. So now it's described that same Yog Maya Shakti transported, this is Jiva Goswami's own statement in Gopal Champu, transported the form of Yashoda Nandan, Brajinda Nandan Sri Krishna, to the dungeon of Kamsa via the conduit of Yoga Maya in that Prakosh. In that Prakosh means in that chamber of Yoga Maya Shakti, the guards guarding the gate of the dungeon where Vasudeva and Devaki were, they fell asleep. I've told this many times before, you cannot fathom that the power of Kamsa, the only person Kamsa really feared was Jarasandha, that's why he married Jarasandha's daughters, Asti and Prapti, that Kamsa, who's given an order, you should be vigilant that whenever a child is born to Vasudeva and Devaki, you must alert me immediately. The two gods will say, oh, we fell asleep. So again, just be real. Do you think that would happen? No. So therefore, the influence of Yoga Maya, it's clearly written also in Shastra, by the influence of Yoga Maya, they fell asleep. Here the meaning is that in the Prakash, in the Prakosh of Yoga Maya, they were not privy to that. So they were asleep to that Prakosh. You understand? There's another way to understand this. So now, in that Prakosh, Virjendra Nandan Krishna appears in the dungeon. And Yashoda, the giving the darshan of Virjendra Nandan Sri Krishna to Devaki, she becomes inspired to then request, oh, become like my son. If you read the Brihad Vaishnav Toshni and many other commentaries, it just mentions that form of Vasudev, Narayan, that was there, because Vasudev means sometimes Krishna is two-handed, sometimes four-handed. So it mentions there that form transferred into a baby, Atma Maya, by his own Atma Maya. But Jiva Goswami has elaborated on what that means. How did he become a small baby? The form of Virjendra Nandan Krishna comes to the dungeon and subsumes or takes that form of Vasudeva, Narayan, into his own being. And then, of course, he immediately requests to Vasudeva, whose chains have been removed by Yog Maya Shakti, to take him immediately back to Braj. You understand? And then, of course, when Vasudeva takes him back to Braj, right, already the feature of Sankarshan and Anantasej are in Braj, and that Anantasej appears and guides Vasudeva while he's walking through this rainstorm. And then when he arrives at the Garbhagriha, right? Because first you will think that there are so many Brijabasis around. So why did they not see Vasudeva come to bring this boy and place him there? Because this is all within the Prakosh of Yoga Maya. So Brijabasis also are not seeing. So he enters the Garbhagriha and he places the child down. Many of our acharyas have commented that form of Vasudeva in Mathura was carried in the form of a baby to Braj and then merged with the Virjendra Nandan Sri Krishna. This is also completely okay. But what Jiva Goswami Prabhupada has described actually fills in many theological considerations. One is that by giving darshan to Devaki in the form of Virjendra Nandan, she could inspire in a situation which would not call for it, the mood of Vatsalya praying. She has some indication in her desire because she asked for Bhagavan to become her son. But if Bhagavan appears as Bhagavan, right? Because he says, now I fulfilled your desire. I've come to you 3 times in the form of Bhagavan. Prithvi, Garba, Vamandev, and now as Vasudev. And under the circumstances that you're in, I've come to grant fearlessness, as I told earlier in the verse here. And in that state, your fearlessness would be, Bhagavan has come. Bhagavan can easily kill Kamsa and free us from all of these things. But your prayer then become a small baby, and I'll protect you. So the archetype of all Vatsalya praying, I'm not speaking about the Rasa Vichar of the position of Narasimhadev, because it's mentioned that the emblem of Vatsalya Prem is Narasimhadev among the incarnations. That's a different thing. What I'm speaking here is that the archetype of the highest quality of motherhood is expressed in Yashodamai. You understand? She gives fame of motherhood to all others, including those who want to have the mood of Vatsalya Prem. So that was also expressed in the Damodar Bandhan Leela. When all of the other elderly Brijavasi ladies who have Vatsalya Prem, it was completely solidified in them giving their own ropes, etc. to Yashoda to add to hers to bind Krishna. In this way, their mood and heart also became tadatmik with that of Yashoda. Much in the same way, all of the gopis' hearts became tadatmik with Radhika just prior to Gopi Geet, right? When they found her in a condition of deep separation after Krishna had left her, right? During their Van Vihar, right? So, in the same way, Yashoda is given fame of motherhood to Devaki. By that darshan, Devaki has the mood, oh, become like my son. So then, on the basis of that feeling transferring into her heart, then Krishna appears there, right? And subsumes the form of Vasudeva, who's present there. It is that very form of Vasudeva that he will use to kill the demons. So all the demons, the Putana, etc., they're all killed by this form of Vasudeva, who was taken into the form of Sri Krishna. My Gurudev told the other day, Krishna doesn't know how to kill anybody. Krishna is so charmed and so always absorbed in the bliss of the Braj praying that he does not know how to do anything like killing people and so forth and so on. But that's accomplished by the form of Vasudeva, which is present within Krishna as his own Angsa. You understand? So this is the secret of the appearance of Krishna both in Braj and in Mathura to Vasudeva and Devaki. So I went a little longer than I expected. I had some other things to attend to, but hopefully, Prabhuji, this answered your question. There was another question written in, and I also observed something yesterday, but I decided not to speak on it. I've spoken on it before. I don't think, in light of what we're speaking about here, that it's worthwhile discussion. I'll just give you the outline of it. There is still a perpetuation of an opposidantic idea of the jivas falling from the spiritual world. And there's someone who is, I guess, you know, in some ways highly respected in many ways in the Vaishnava community. I don't want to say, you know, absolutely by everyone, etc., but obviously there are a number of people who have regard. And therefore, that person's ideas and presentations have sway a lot. And for those devotees who are not theologically or siddhantically steeped, then through intellectual, you know, jargon, etc., the presentation regarding this has found some resonance in those devotees who are not theologically or siddhantically steeped so much, and it is problematic in some ways. And again, the greater part of the problem with that particular individual and the presentation of this opposidantic idea is that not only do they hold sway based on, you know, how they're perceived in the certain circles of Vaishnavism, but also because they sort of attach to that opposidantic idea that anyone who does not accept it is somehow unfaithful and has deviated from the true teachings of our Srila Prabhupada. That is an extremely dangerous sort of conflation. You understand? I didn't want to speak on it here, but that's a very dangerous conflation. That because someone does not accept, especially how grossly opposidantic the idea is, but that they don't accept many of your conjectured analysis of the Sastric statements, because if you look in any of the tikas or commentaries, nobody is given an explanation as this person gave. And our basis of giving any kind of explanation, as I did today, is to go and look in the commentaries of the Acharyas and speak from the basis of Guru Sadhu Sastra. Nobody's given an explanation as this person gave to try to give credence or justification to their perspective on this apasidantic idea. So because of its danger in giving people a idea that people who don't resonate with that idea are somehow or another off base. I mean, there's been words used like foolish, unintelligent, and of course most damaging and most dangerous is the aparad innuendo that they have deviated from the teachings of Srila Prabhupada and are unfaithful to Srila Prabhupada. So the pain of thinking of how many stalwart, thousands of stalwart followers and disciples of Srila Prabhupada don't accept this apasidantic idea, and to present to maybe more innocent or maybe not as steeped devotees or aspirants this apasidantic idea and then conflate it with not accepting it is concomitant to not accepting Srila Prabhupada is extremely dangerous. And actually borderline, if not actual aparad. Because you had very stalwart Vaishnavas like Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Swarup Damodar Maharaj, just many stalwart devotees, right? And I'm not mentioning those who are now currently also very much, if you're hearing the Harikatha, know that they don't accept this idea. And contrary to the statement also of this person, they're not just outside the institutional framework, so to speak, of our ISKCON society. They are both within the ISKCON society, outside the ISKCON society, because ultimately it's a matter of theological actualities. So it's not a matter of institution or sectarian considerations. It's a matter of if this Siddhanta or not. And there's nowhere, I gave the argument before that anything that we accept the Siddhanta, it has to have its presence established in Srimad Bhagavatam. Srila Jiva Goswami wrote the entire Sandarbhas, which are the Siddhantic fortress around which he protects the teachings of Mahaprabhu given to Rup Sanat and other Goswamis. He protected it by the wall of Siddhanta of those Sandarbhas. And they are all based on Srimad Bhagavatam. So there should be something in Srimad Bhagavatam besides the two allegorical verses this person quotes. And what's really so amazing is that in the verses the person quotes to try to give credence to this idea, just 2 verses or 3 verses later, both Srila Prabhupada and the person in context of the verses being spoken declare them to be allegorical statements. They're not a history. They're an allegory to explain a particular ontological reality about the Atman. The story I'm speaking about is the narration by Nar to King Prachinabhati. So he gives the whole story of Puranjan. And in the course of that story, then, in the next life, Puranjan becomes a woman, etc., etc. And in the context of that, he is describing an ontological reality of the soul through an allegorical story. It is not a history of the jiva. And to twist and turn through academic, I don't want to say the word, through academic jugglery, I'll use that word to be more polite, right? To then declare that somehow or another, this is the real finding in Bhagavatam of the proof that we fell from a relationship with Krishna in the spiritual world, which there's unlimited Siddhantic evidence that this is not possible. So unlimited. You understand? So if you can find 2 verses which declare this to be so, and they're allegorical, not historical, and then to have our Srila Prabhupada in the 7th canto, 1st chapter, verse 35, declare conclusively, that unless there's something to be done on behalf of the Lord, it is a fact that no one falls from Vaikuntha. So to speak directly in the face of such a conclusive statement, your conjecture about it I really don't understand it. I don't know if it is the result of some Vaishnava aparad previously committed. I don't know what is the genesis of how you could come to that state. I don't. And even if it was your firm conviction of understanding, then to present it in a way that was not offensive to others, to say, you know, I mean, from everything I've read or understood, this is what I've gleaned from the writings of Srila Prabhupada. Opposidantic or not, it becomes then your personal realization. It becomes your personal realization. And if there's sincerity in practice of bhakti, everything can be reconciled. But when you extend out your personal, in this case, opposidantic conclusion, and you conflate that with loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, especially for those who've done so much service to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada's mission. I may be appearing to get a little bit heated because it is a very sensitive thing for me. Because to indicate or give innuendo, insinuation about some disparaging qualities of Vaishnavas, I can't tolerate it. So my point here is that if that was your personal conviction and understanding, and you declared it as such, I would not say a word. I would not, unless we spoke and we were talking or whatever, and this came up, I would not say a word. But when you conflate it with loyalty to Srila Prabhupada, and that those who don't accept this opposidantic conclusion are not faithful to Prabhupada, and are unintelligent, uninformed, to me it becomes pratishta asta drasta swapacha ramani ridimenatet. It becomes the proof of the audacious nature of a dog-eating prostitute dancing in the heart due to pratishta. Whether it's from academic, abhiman, I'm a scholar, I went to college, or whatever it is. Whatever that might be, please put it back in the box. Put it back in the box. I don't get very animated about many things, but I cannot tolerate Vaishnava aparad, and nor should anyone else. So my strong feeling here, my strong, obviously very strong feeling, is if this person gets wind of this, please, if it is your conclusion, if that's what you've understood, make it personal. Do not conflate it with our Srila Prabhupada. You have no right. You have no right to do that. Because many who've dedicated their lives to this process, they're not obliged to your understanding. And if they've gleaned from the writings of Prabhupada and Apurvacharya something different, you have no right to insult them because of your own understanding. And I don't know how, except for what I just stated, you could possibly come to a mental space where you could feel that that was okay to do in front of other Vaishnavas. So now I'm praying at the lotus feet of Guru Garanga that my animation and my deep displeasure at hearing the insulting of Vaishnavas, I hope that has not offended anyone else. This is my prayer. All right, so let us go back to our original conversation to dilute the energy of this whole thing. And hopefully, Prabhuji's, in regarding your question about Diksha and, of course, the appearance of Sri Krishna, you can find all of this in commentaries. Some commentaries are now in English. Others are not really fully manifest in English yet. But there's enough for you to research and find according to the verses that I've given you. If nothing else, you can look into Artha Darshini Tika of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Pad on those two verses that I quoted earlier. And he's giving his explanation also. And you will see the similar thing. All right. My Dandavat Pranam, all devotees and deities. Vancha Kalpaturubhischa, Kripa Sindhuvevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Radhe Radhe.